Hi students, I had several of you kind of question the methods to go about retouching this photograph. So I wanted to do a quick video to help you understand the process that I would use to edit this photograph of my grandmother, or you could use the same techniques on your own photograph if you chose to use a different one. First, I'm going to crop off, hold on, let me change that. I had a preset from another project. Okay, so first I'm going to crop this image just so we can look at a clean image. And I'm kind of doing this on the fly, so you have to excuse me if I don't do this smoothly. Okay, so when I retouch images the way that I want you to do it, I use a lot of adjustment layers and hue saturation. I am going to go in first and just kind of clean up the dust and scratches. A very quick way to do that is to use the spot healing brush tool, and you want to make your brush size just slightly bigger than the spot that you're working on. So you can see how quickly it removes blotches if you do them one at a time. Okay, now there, it was starting to suck up a little bit of the texture of the tree. So I'm going to undo those, the last two, and we'll handle those differently. This technique works well in flat, dark areas, and so I'm going to go through and use this technique for the ones that it works on, and then I'll go back and address those other two. Okay. So just going one by one over the splotches. That one didn't work well. I'm going to undo that one. That one didn't work well either. Okay, this technique does not work for everything. So you have to use different tools for different solutions. Okay, so next I'm going to use the clone tool on some of the others. So I'm going to come over here and hold Option and click on a space that's the same coloring, and then click on the part that you want to cover. And as you see that plus sign pop up next to what I'm doing, it's showing me the area that it's sampling from. Now you have worked with the clone tool in some of the tutorials, so if you need a better explanation of that, you can go back to that chapter. Okay, so I've gotten the majority of the big ones out of the way. I'm not going to go crazy with the dust and scratches in this demo because what I really want to do is show you the coloring technique. So first I'm going to double click, I'm going to go to my layers palette. If you need to open your layers palette, you can go under Window, down to Layers, and open your layers palette. I'm going to double click to turn my background layer into layer 0 so that it's unlocked. And I'm going to make a rough selection of her dress. And I'm going to choose the magnetic lasso tool. The magnetic lasso tool is helpful because it sticks to the difference in the pixels. It sees the edge, it sees that there's a contrast between the two pixels, and it kind of sticks to it. It helps us to make a really good selection. I'm going to hold the Shift tool now, and you'll see the plus sign come up, and that's going to allow me to continue this selection elsewhere. Okay, now if this selection's not perfect, that's completely okay. We will be able to go in and adjust our selection as soon as we make our clipping mask. Okay, so I've come around, almost got her whole dress. Alright, and wrapping it up with that open circle lets you know that you've made a perfect selection and that's a closed selection. Okay, so this icon right here is the clipping mat. It creates a mask, a clipping mask. I call it the washing machine button. We're going to add a layer mask by clicking the washing machine button. Okay? And all that did was select out the one area that I want to work on. Okay? For this example, though, let me undo that. I still have my selection. And what I'm actually going to do, it's only going to select that area, but first I'm going to keep my selection and I'm going to make a I'm going to make an adjustment layer. Undo that. Okay, so you click on adjustment layer and go to hue saturation. Alright, so what we have is a selection of just that area. Now, open up your adjustments window should be open because you selected hue saturation. At this point, you can colorize. So I will click colorize, and then you can decide what color her dress is going to be. And I'm going to use pink for her. And then you can change the saturation. You can change the lightness and darkness. And you see that I have some very harsh edges. Now, I have a selection, so with my selection highlighted by clicking on it, I'm going to go back with my eraser tool, and I'm going to use a small brush and make sure if it's over here on, it's 0% of hardness, it's a very soft brush. That's about right. And I'm going to put this at 40% is pretty good. I want it kind of low because what I need to do is soften this edge. Now, right now, the black is in front, and watch, it is adding to that selection. And I'm going to do that dramatically with 100% so you can see what it's actually doing. Okay, I'm using my mouse over here, and it's turning her arm pink. But I want you to take your eyes right now over to that mask in the layers palette, and as soon as I click off of it, you're going to see the layer change. Okay, I'm making a big mess on purpose right now. And as soon as I click off, 1, 2, keep your eyes on the black square, 1, 2, 3, you see that it changes the mask over here to fit whatever I was masking out. Now I switch it to white in front, and I can remove all of that. I'm going to use a bigger brush now to get rid of it really quick. So you can see what I'm doing again. Okay, so I'm removing it, and as soon as I'm done removing it, I'll click 1, 2, 3, keep your eyes on the black square, and it goes away, okay? So you may need to re-watch that little piece because learning how to flip back and forth between the black and the white using the eraser tool is what gives you the opportunity to build in soft or harsh color and to add it and take it away. So right now I'm just softening that edge. You know, there were some places where I didn't have the best selection, particularly here at the bottom. I need to go over that again. Okay, the rest is pretty close. Okay, maybe the neckline's not right. Let me switch that and go back over, and I think the neckline was not as high as I had selected it to be. Okay, so now I'd like to work on, let's see, we will work on the tree. So I'll go down with my magnetic brush, my magnetic lasso, do a rough outline of the tree, hold shift so that I can get the other tree. Okay, now again, I'm going to make a new hue saturation layer of just the tree. And on this one, I'm going to colorize and make it brown. Kind of just have to go around till you find the right shade. None of these are working out. Okay, that's not bad if we make it darker. Okay, so when you use all three of those, the hue, saturation, and lightness, you should be able to get it pretty close to what you're looking for. Bring black to the front and start to add my selection to perfect the rough selection that I started with. Now I have to be careful to not record for too long else I won't be able to post this. So I'm going to do one more area, and then I'm going to do skin tone because that's usually pretty difficult for people. So I'll go ahead and address skin tone real quick. I'm going to make a selection of her face. Again, go over to hue saturation, colorize, and start to find kind of a neutral color for her. And if you look at tinted photographs from the past, you know they kind of have painted on rosy cheeks, painted on blue eyes, that kind of thing. And that's a good place to start to give it that retro hand tinted kind of feel. So I'm just going to slightly color her face. I don't want to overdo it. The problem though is that when you colorize, it's coloring everything that was black also, and so that can start to look faded out. So what I'm actually going to do with a very small brush and take it down into a lower opacity, I'm going to remove the part that was black. So I brought white to the front, and if it was black before, I'm going to remove some of the brown on top just to help it show through some. I feel like it looks a little bit more realistic. That might be too much though. Let's take it down. It looks kind of scary right now. It'll look more natural by the time I'm finished. Okay, now since I already have this selected, I can just go in and paint her arms that way. I don't have to do a separate selection. I want her whole body to be the same color anyway. This really is the most efficient way to colorize a picture. Now, since her dress was pink, I can go in on that. I can switch it to the dress layer, and I can paint in her lips on the dress layer if I want. If I want her lips to be the same color as the dress. If you want them to be a brighter red, then you'd have to do it on a different layer. And let's see. Okay, one other thing I want to show you is now that I have her skin, if I still feel like it's not the right shade, then I can change the opacity of that hue saturation layer until I get it right. You know, and then you'll go through and do the sky, handle the sky the same way, the barn, the trees, the garden, the foreground. I just wanted to give you a brief start in how to make a good selection, how to set up your hue saturation layers, and how to work with those layers. I hope this was helpful. Thank you.